go deeper cuts.
Yeah, so we're going to do a deeper dive on some of these things. And, like we were just talking about with Linda and some of these conversations about, having that increased level of awareness. So I also want to give you some oil choices in case they were using something different. Give me just a sec here. So you can use poplar, some form of rose, jasmine, helichrysum, petitgrain, blue lotus, tolu balsam, cistus or ginger lily, tuberose.
Nice, fancy
Yeah,
stuff.
it's all fancy. Most of it's fancy. But the idea is we want to increase awareness because we want to break out of loops. Sometimes these loops are affecting how we think and feel and how we behave, but some of these loops are also tied to how our body heals. Like pain is a good example where pain can, if it's been there for a little bit, it can actually become part of a loop and your body has to break out of that pattern. Like, even though your body might be shifting and changing a little bit, your body's been yelling at your brain like, hey, there's something wrong here. And over a period of time, it just goes, this is just what we do now. We yell at the brain and say, hey, your back is hurt in this little area. And so even though the back might be changing, the body still thinks it has to yell about the pain to the brain. And the nerves just keep following those orders until we break out of that cycle. So sometimes we have inflammatory issues, we have pain related issues, we might have digestive related issues that aren't getting better. And some of it is because it's in a loop. And so we're gonna do a version of this, and we're gonna kind of work the auric program, not quite how we've been doing it, but we're gonna work it as a ball of light. In Astara, this is how we work it is we visualize ourselves as a ball of light. And in doing so, it starts to manipulate the nervous system to a better place because of the energetic shift that happens in the aura begins to physicalize in the body. It's what we do also with the oils and the auric programs. We're just going to do it in a slightly different way. And so what I'd like you to do at first is you're just going to close your eyes and you're going to be aware of your body. So you're being aware of your breath. You're being aware of tension in your body. You want to pay attention to where you feel like an agitation or tension anywhere in your body, your foot, your back, your gut, your jaws. And for a moment, just observe it. Okay, so we're going to keep doing this, but let's just be clear. I'm going to reiterate something that I said back in the Q&A and the shares is by paying attention to your breath, by paying attention to the tension in your body or in agitation or whatever you might feel, you're stimulating and regulating a center that is also associated with producing lower emotion, homeostatic emotion, right? And so with that, The more that you put your awareness on the area, you're not just putting your awareness on the area, you're calming the body down in ways that, normal thinking can't touch. Like you're just being aware. Like if you think about like when somebody is upset and they're trying to talk or they're upset, you go, okay, take a couple deep breaths. Like, and they're part of what's doing is they're calming down their body through taking the breath, but they're also being aware of their breath. That slows down the generation of lower emotion, right? So that's kind of our goal here. The lower emotion or the homeostatic emotion is a lot of what we call blockages in the body, right? When an area of our body doesn't respond to normal healing or treatment or things of that nature, there's some sort of blockage in the body, which is usually tied to lower emotion, which is emotion that our body generates, right? So we're wanting to calm that down. So you're being aware of your body, feel for the tension in your body. And then keeping your awareness there, start taking some nice, long, slow, deep breaths with the oil. And then just pause and be still. 'Cause that's starting. Yeah. Now reevaluate your body. Where do you feel something in your body? Even just this simple act can facilitate healing by the breaking up of blockages. So if you have areas that maybe are painful or compromised or agitated, your awareness is on one of those areas and just observe it for a moment. And wherever your awareness is at, maintain your awareness there as you take nice, long, slow, deep breaths with the oils. Now just be still. Let everything go. Just be still. Just let it incubate. Now you're going to visualize yourself in a brilliant ball of light. You're completely surrounded by white light. So in front of you and behind you, the left side and the right side of you, above you and below you, you're completely surrounded by a ball of light. So first, just visualize yourself in this ball of light. And as the image sets in your mind, begin meditating on the ball of light. Now continue to meditate on the ball of light and begin inhaling the oil with your awareness on the ball of light. Inhale with your awareness on the ball of light. And then just let it go. Let everything go. How'd that feel with the ball of light? Okay, so we're going to start playing with this a little bit. So now think of either a past situation, an active situation, a person where you might have some difficulty. Observe the situation, the past event, or the person. Observe them for a moment, and then we'll begin inhaling the oils. So you're observing. You're inhaling as you observe the situation or the person. Let that person or situation go. Come back to the ball of light. Be aware of the ball of light. Meditate on the ball of light. Begin inhaling the oil. And then just pause and be still for a second. Go back to the external situation, that person you're observing. As you observe, begin inhaling the oil. You're still thinking about that situation or that person. Let it go. Just be still for a moment. Again, visualize yourself in a ball of light. Not yet. You're just visualizing the ball of light completely surrounding you. You're inhaling with your awareness on the ball of light, taking nice, long, slow, deep breaths. Let it go for a moment. Your awareness is on your brain. You're practicing awareness on your brain. Begin inhaling the oil. You're still inhaling with your awareness on your brain. And then just let go. Your awareness is on your spine. Nice, long, slow, deep breaths with your awareness on your spine. You're taking nice, long, slow, deep breaths with your awareness on your spine. And then just let that go. Just be still. Just let that go. Just being still. Okay, so we're going to go to the area between the eyebrows. And as you inhale, you're going to move your awareness towards the center of your brain. And then as you exhale, just let go. So you're going to hold the bottle up to your nose. You're going to inhale, moving your awareness inward, and then let go. And then inhale again, moving your awareness inward, let go. And your awareness is here, inhale, inward, let go. Okay, so your awareness is between the eyebrows. Inhale with the oil, moving your awareness in towards the middle of your head, and then let go. And then inhale inward, and then let go. Do it at your own pace. And then just pause and be still. Now we're going to build on that. You're going to have your awareness here. You're going to inhale, moving your awareness inward. And then as you exhale, your awareness is going to be on the palms of your hand and the soles of your feet. So inhale very slowly, pause, move your awareness to your hands and feet, and then gently exhale. And then inhale with your awareness here, moving inward. And then exhale, awareness on the palms and soles of your feet. How about we'll do a couple together? Ready? Bottle ready. Inhale, your awareness is on the ajna, moving your awareness to the center of your head. Pause, awareness on hands and feet. Exhale. Again, awareness is between the eyebrows. Inhale, moving your awareness to the center of your head. Hold your breath. Pause, awareness on palms and soles of your feet. Exhale. Start doing that at your own pace. And then just pause. Just be still. How'd that treat you? Again, visualize the ball of light. You're completely surrounded in the ball of light. Continue to meditate on the ball of light and inhale. And then just pause and let go. Just let it go for a moment. Now, like when we started with doing body awareness, right? Like being aware of the body, tension in the body, being aware of your breath. That's an important step so that when we go and we start to look at the other situation, we've already kind of shifted our mind and our nervous system into a little bit of a repair mode. So then when we look at something a little bit difficult, we're already in a place to where there's the potential for the shift, and we've already diminished the production of those lower emotions, right? So then we start looking at that situation, and then we come back to the ball of light, and the ball of light is key because it will keep resetting the nervous system. So you notice we did the situation, ball of light, situation, ball of light, and then we went into the brain and the spine, and then we did the thing with the ajna on the hands and the feet. And again, that's to also shift another part of the nervous system. And then we come back, ball of light, right? So the ball of light is always like a big component to refining this kind of awareness, but it's also shifting the nervous system and it's shifting the mind. You know, it's making the intellect a little bit more flexible and better at what it does, and it increases the intuitive process, which is associated with healing. So we're breaking out of loops, be it inside of us or tied to these specific situations that we might be having a problem with, a difficulty with. So let's go ahead and open it up to shares or questions. You can unmute yourself or type in. You said you got all spacey after the Ajna. Yeah, part of what happens is your nervous system is rebooting a little bit. And so, yeah, the whole thing, but especially that piece, the mind and the somatic nerves are rebooting a little bit.
Okay.
So that would be more of the expression of whatever's going on.
It kind of felt like an intense way of doing it then.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, go ahead, Teresa.
Hey,
Hi there. That was really interesting. And I'm glad I understand a bit more now, after that. Because in the process of the person, the ball of light sometimes would be bouncy and then it would be deflated and then it would reset.
right,
And
right.
then it would be solid again and I would see like a knife go through it, and then it would reset.
Mhm.
And so I guess how I would interpret it now is whatever needed to be reset
Yeah, so I mean, you
was
bring
that.
up a good example. You know, part of the intuitive mind is you see things like with imagery and symbolically,
Mhm.
and you know, you're sitting there looking at the ball of light, but then with this situation with this person, it's like almost like a way to kind of gauge like where that situation's at. And what you're doing is you're unwinding that dysregulation. And so you might feel fine in a lot of areas, but then you start thinking of that situation or that person, and you're like, you know, but all these other areas you feel fine. And
Mhm.
so, you know, going through the the ball can be both like an evaluation as well as part of the therapeutic process.
Yep.
And you know, you want the ball to be eventually like bright, and then you know, like a week later, you go back and you go, okay, ball of light, think of that situation, come back, oh, it's still bright. Ugh. Like you know that like the nervous system is kind of done its reset. And it doesn't
Yep.
mean that it couldn't go deeper, you know, because
Yep.
it always can go, excuse me, it
Yeah.
can always go deeper. But you know, the thing that happens in these situations is whatever the traumatic event was, or the pattern, is that it will cause a kind of dysregulation in that involuntary part of your nervous system. And we don't really know it except like when we think of it and we don't feel good or we get agitated or
Yeah.
whatever. And really you're undoing the crime scene, you know, like when I'm always talking about
Yeah.
you're unwinding the crime scene. And you know, part of it is that it just got set in motion, and until we unwind that in the body, it's just there,
Yeah.
and the
It's
body
interesting.
thinks it's still happening, by the way.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, I like how you say an evaluation tool because in this
yeah.
case, I'm really neutral. And I had a shift last night, and I always find it fascinating that when I have a shift around a topic,
Hmm.
how many people will reach out again that I haven't heard from in a long time. So that was
Hmm.
one of those individuals.
Hmm.
And I wouldn't have thought about what I saw in the ball of light. And I'm like, oh, okay. Well, yeah, I think we're done. Thank you. So it was really great. Thank you.
Oh, good.
Okay.
And go ahead, Robert.
Hey,
Mhm.
Greg. Uh, so I I was quite amused by the new protocols and techniques that you incorporated. Uh, I don't think we've ever had some of those before, and so it was like really interesting to me to experience that. But I also
Yeah,
wanted,
I was getting jiggy with it. Like I was like mixing it up, and
yeah,
yeah, yeah,
and it felt good. And one of the times when I was in the ball of light, I just felt like, oh, I need to relax. I don't need to be
hmm, yeah,
stiff. I need to relax. And when
right,
I relaxed, there was this sort of chair that formed in the ball of light to allow me to sit.
right,
And it was
right,
like, oh, just keep relaxing. And suddenly it became like a bed.
right,
And every time I moved, it moved to support me. So when I went to stand up, there was support under my feet, and the bed and the
nice.
chair moved away. And I was like, wow, this is pretty cool. And then I did a
Right.
somersault and the ball rolled with me as I went forward. Um, so I don't know what was different this time, but it was very different.
Well, like, you know, we're always working on some of these pieces, but then you can start to kind of sequence them in different ways. And, you know, like we're using the visualization of a ball of light, but we're to a certain extent, we're always swimming in kind of like this big ocean of light. But
Right.
we still want to physicalize it into the body. And so, you know, it gives the mind a form to kind of tap into. But then, you know, it's a way that's like what I was saying to Teresa. It's like it's almost like an evaluation tool of like, okay, with this going on in the body, where do I feel? And like you said, you started to feel supported and those things. And you know, if you look at like how we were using the tools, you know, it kind of goes back to the idea of yin yang theory. And yin is the form. So that would be also the sympathetic part of the nervous system, and it would also be the intellect. And then yang is essence, and so that would be the intuitive mind. And then it would also be the parasympathetic part of the nervous system. And so yin, which is form, the way that you're able to um, like regulate that is you work outward in. You know, because if you think of intellect, you're like, I need to micromanage this situation. I need to do this. I need to do this so I feel better. Like it's kind of like a thing that we already do. We just don't do it like in a therapeutic way. We do it in a stressed out, you know, manic way, like, got to put the fire out, got to do this, got to do that. And so you're not really doing something different than what you normally do. You're just doing it like in a therapeutic way. And so like you just start outward and you just keep relaxing everything as you keep coming more and more inward and inward and inward and inward. And then that last little piece has to do with balancing the psyche and the voluntary part of the nervous system, which is, you know, reacting to all the dysregulation in the autonomic part of the nervous system. And so you're just deepening the level of healing that can happen specific to the situation. You know, like here we're thinking about a person or a situation, but if you do enough of those situations, it starts to be a blanket that hits just everything, you know. But at first, you kind of go to your hot spots, like you work your hot spot, that person, that situation, that, and then after a while, it just starts to be like this is what my nervous system does. You know, it's like it's changing, and really, what you're doing is you're harmonizing the two sides of your nervous system, but you're also harmonizing the two sides of your brain, you know, the intellect and intuition, but you're also harmonizing the outer world and the inner world, which that's the big one, the outer world and the inner world. And so, you know, the more that we're able to do that, the more that we, you know, heal physically, we heal psychologically, and we spiritually grow and evolve rather than, you know, because even if a person goes, well, I don't want to spiritually grow and evolve, you know, a person doesn't have to in a lifetime, but usually the things that cause us suffering are those stumbling blocks. So even like just a little motion or a little movement in that area usually produces a better quality of life. You know, it's tied to that providence aspect. And so, you know, the key is you're trying to unwind all these different physical emotions. You know, it's you're trying to calm down the body in all these different areas from screaming at the brain all the time. I mean, that's literally what happens is if the body is feeling like it's not safe, it's not secure, something's going on, there's a problem, it starts to send messages to the brain. But after a while, if we're not you know, our nervous system's not refined enough to receive the message, the body just starts screaming. And the manifestation is the body goes into this deep, dysregulated or stressed out state. And then it becomes very hard to heal, and it becomes very hard to respond to any sort of treatment. And then it starts to be how we feel and how we think and how we interact with people. And, you know, it's just this whole cascading effect that happens. Yeah.
I understand some of this correctly.
Mhm.
We're using specific experiences in our life, whether it's a person, event, or a situation, and we're using it not only to bring about healing of that specific thing, but also to teach our body to heal in general.
Yes, exactly. That's
And
exactly
to
it.
know that something's going to come along and
Yeah.
I'll use the word trigger us.
Hmm.
And okay, just observe it and let the body then melt it, evolve it, dissipate it, and in essence, calm ourselves.
Hmm.
And that's what we're learning here by going through this
Right. Right.
and
Yeah,
finding
and
all the different things.
and like you're like in a way you're kind of learning it, but it's almost like you're cultivating this like state of your body. You're learning what it looks like, and you're learning like, oh, I want to go to that place. It's because it's almost like being, like going to like some place on vacation where you're like, oh, this place is amazing. And then you go back to your job and you're like stressed out again. It's almost like being able to go to a place inside that, everything's okay. It's that island out in the middle of the ocean or that mountain cabin or, whatever it is.
Yeah,
And
the floor or the chair or the bed that
yeah,
forms when you need
yeah,
it, wherever you are.
yeah,
Okay, that was a very fun experience.
yeah.
Thank
We're
you.
going to be going deeper on this whole little dynamic because it kind of ties in somewhat to the angels, and we're in a couple of weeks we're going to be doing the deeper dive of the emotions generated by the different systems in the body and unwinding that and hitting the parts in the brain in charge of um, generating the emotion, and so the idea is that if we can calm the agitation in the body so that it doesn't have to scream in the brain, for one, the body can heal, but two, emotionally we feel better, our mind is clearer, things just everything starts getting like better. And I go back through and look through my old notes all the time. And I use different terminology through the years and everything, but um, one of the biggest stumbling blocks usually to be it physical or psychological healing was always like some form of homeostatic emotion, you know, and that's the confusing part is we think it's something that we are generating by our emotions or something that we're thinking, and it's the body just like yelling at the brain. That's all it is. It's just the body's not feeling heard, you know. And so there's a couple of these mechanisms that I haven't really, we've kind of been touching on them, but I haven't really hit them hard yet. And they're very much tied to clairvoyance, intuition, the body healing. But I would say they're also tied to a deep sense of like happiness or well-being. And they have to do with like it's still neurological, but it produces a very strong like spiritual and psychological effect and even healing in the body. But it's tied to how your body perceives space, like the space that you're in. Like, hey, watch your head. Hey, don't bump into that. Hey, you know, you're not going to fit in that. That little cubby hole there. Whatever it is. It's just how your body perceives its surroundings somewhat. And it sounds like very simple and like no big deal. It's profound. It's incredibly profound. Yeah.
In a way, that somersault or that I did was my body realizing when I'm in the ball, I don't have to worry about doing anything. I'll do what I want to
Right.
do. And there's no obstacles. I'm not going to fall and get hurt. I'm not going to run
Right.
into a wall or trip. It just happens the way I see it in my mind.
Right.
Uh,
Right.
and
Because if you think about like even like what we're saying, and I go back to like what I was saying before, your body doesn't know that those situations aren't happening anymore. It goes back to this place of in the nervous system of like being aware of the surroundings, like and it's your body. It's not your mind, it's not your emotions, it's neurological. And part of what happens is that those mechanisms can get so stressed out that it literally thinks it's in another place. Like I was just talking with somebody and we started having a conversation and like 2 minutes into it, they went somewhere. And I kind of kept talking and then I stopped and I'm like, you okay? And they were just like, yeah. And I go, You kind of went somewhere." And they were like, yeah. And they said whatever, but part of it is their body still thinks they're there. And so like soon as something starts to happen, they leave and they go to that space. And so a lot of times when we have these situations where why can't I get out of this pattern? Why does the same thing keep happening over and over again? Why do I have this same problem with this person? It's because your body still thinks you're there. Like your body has no idea that, hey, yeah, that person was a jerk, but we got into a taxi and we left. And they're long gone. Your body got so stressed out in that spot that it's just still there.
So
Like how like when people check out, that's what's happening is it's like compressions in the mind. And so they'll go and they'll revisit that spot or they get drawn back to that spot. But it's just because the nervous system is still sending the signals to the brain as if they're in that situation or that space. I mean, it's what PTSD is. It's brain fatigue, but it's also body still thinks it's in that situation.
I'm
you
sitting here, this experience of sustained awareness, the Buddha
Mhm.
mind oil. I'm like, how is this helping me realize that the space around me is different than what it really is physically? There's no limits when I'm in the ball of light.
Right, right,
And then once I step into that and accept that, then the thing that I was concentrating on in my body seems to shift.
right.
And this whole process is like mind blowing. It's like,
Yeah. It's very
without,
simple. Like it's very simple, but it's very, very profound.
yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. And
I'm not,
the thing that I would say about that is like, we're sitting there and we're observing the situation. And then you come back and you're observing your body, and you're going, okay, where do I feel tension? What about my breath? Is my breath deep? Is it shallow? Is it fast? But really what's happening is the body is feeling heard. Like, you're paying attention to your breath, you're paying attention to the gut. So it's like if you were in an argument with somebody and you go, okay, this is what I hear you saying. I hear you saying that when I do this, this is what you feel. And the person goes, yes. And then the person goes, okay, I feel heard. I feel like we're resolving this. Like listening to your body, like listening to your breath, listening to like the tension in your body. It's like your brain is going, so this is what I hear you telling me. You have tension in your gut because there's something wrong, and your breath is fast because you don't feel safe. And the body is like, yes. And then it's like, okay, I hear you. And then it's like, I can relax. I don't have to scream because now I feel heard. I mean, it's a very simplified way of saying it, but that is exactly what homeostatic emotion is. It's just the body screaming at the brain.
and
Yeah.
most of us are not taught to acknowledge that screaming,
No,
to
the
say,
opposite. We're taught to ignore it.
Yeah, just shove it inside
Yeah.
somewhere that, oh, here's a good spot to hide it for now, and
Right.
I'll come to it some other day.
Right.
And some
And
other day never
sometimes it's
comes.
survival. Like I can't feel these feelings right now. I can't feel this pain because I got to get through this, and I need to
Right.
not lose it as my boss is losing his mind. I need to keep it together because I need this job, or I need to not lose it at Thanksgiving because I'll never live it down the next every holiday that we have after that if I lose it at Uncle Bob or whoever. Ugh. There's usually reasons, you know. But I can remember when I was young going, something uncomfortable or awkward or something was happening. And I was like, can't think about this right now. I'm going to think about it later. I'll process it later. And just like shutting it off. And then later never came.
Yep, you
It was
forgot about
just some
this.
weird thing. And it's just because I didn't have the skill set or the maturity or whatever it was in the moment, maybe I was 14 or 15. I just didn't know how to handle a weird situation. And so we
On the
just,
to-do list that you
yeah,
spilled coffee on.
yeah,
So, well, thank you very much.
yeah. Yeah, it's going to be fun. That class in a couple of weeks. I'm super excited about it. It's
It
going to be
sounds like
fun.
it. Yeah, it sounds like it's going to be pretty powerful.
Yeah,
So thank you.
you're so welcome.
Yeah, especially if you keep throwing some cool doozies like tonight's practice.
I know.
That's, I don't know.
Well, even like tomorrow night, we're going to explore um, like protection, right? And even the idea of protection is okay, got to keep the emotional energies or the thought forms or whatever being projected at us, which is true. We don't want that to come in and impact our physiology or emotional body, our energy body, whatever it might be. But at the same time, protection practices are also, if you look at it from the point of view of the body, if the body feels protected, it can relax, just like what Robert was saying about being in that ball, where he's like, I'm doing somersaults and I'm floating on a couch. And like, so the more that the body feels protected, the more that it can go, I don't have to have my guard up. I don't have to be waiting for the other shoe to drop. I don't have to be always on guard every time I come around somebody. And your nervous system can start actually functioning in ways that it's meant to, but because of our past, our conditioning, stresses, old traumas, we get locked into this way of interacting with the world. And a lot of times it continues to cause problems, through the years or through the decades. And so, as much as we try to deal with these things from a psychological point of view, most of it is neurological, body systems and neurology. It really is. I had a friend who was a psychologist, and she has written several textbooks and is a professor somewhere. And um, I was doing earlier versions of this with a group of people that she was affiliated with, and she goes, "You never heard me say this, but this is the true psychology, like the thing with the nervous system and shifting it and everything." She goes, "Normal psychology can't touch what happens with." She goes, "But I'm in my discipline, and we don't talk about that stuff." But you know, anyway.
Give me just 1 second. Now, you did answer this, but because they acknowledged he just answered this. but they're asking, this sounds weird, but does there come a point where the body stops thinking these old events are still happening?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. At some point, and there's not usually like a big fanfare. It's almost just like you just go, oh, huh, yeah. And then it's just kind of done. But, it's even like when we go back and we look at these past events, it's not our thoughts, and it's not even like our higher emotion or the emotion that we generate. It's usually something got set in motion that was like a type of stress or dysregulation with that event. And the dysregulation is just, it never stopped. It's still going. So when we go back and we look at these situations and you go, oh yeah, I still feel something there, or sometimes I feel nothing, I'm completely shut off. There can still be a dysregulation that's there. That's why I like the white ball, because if the nervous system has truly shifted out of the dysregulation, when you look at the ball, even if you're not super clairvoyant, you're just like looking at it in your mind, it will be very bright. But if there's still an issue there, it will be like grayish, it'll be hard to hold on to the whole circle. Like, weird things will happen. It won't look like that brilliant ball of light. And so you keep going to that situation until that ball becomes brilliant white, right? If you go to that situation and it's like, it's still a little gray, or there's holes in the area, we need to go to that area so that there is a brilliant ball of light, because that's also a reflection of the mental permanent seed or the blue pearl, right? So that means that light has come in, and light is through a balanced nervous system affecting that area. And we have spiritualized whatever that is or healed whatever that is. So until that ball is brilliant white, we have an issue in that area. So then you can go and look situation, situation, situation. Okay, I see a ball of light, and you go brilliant white, brilliant white. Kind of gray. There's some holes. Might be camouflage. I'm not sure. Like it just doesn't look very good, right? But these other ones are brilliant white. In that area, there's some sort of dysregulation in the nervous system. Yeah. So the goal is any situation we should look at, eventually we should be able to look at a situation, feel it in the body, look at it, and then visualize ourselves in a brilliant ball of light and go back and forth a few times. And the ball should be brilliant white and even getting a little brighter as we go through and do it. But if it looks shaky or gray, or there's holes or there's spots or you can't maintain it, there's some issue in the nervous system there. That just sustained awareness is all we really need to do to undo it. Basically, another way to say that is when you see the ball like not brilliant white light, you go to that situation and you just have to listen to the body. Listen to the body, because the body is still trying to scream and get your attention. Hey, this hurt. My feelings were hurt. This sucked. This was painful. I felt vulnerable. Whatever it is, as soon as you start listening to the body goes, okay, I feel hurt. I feel hurt. I can let it go. I can walk away. But until then, it still feels like there's a crisis happening. Yeah.
That is so helpful. And for me, it even helped because sometimes I get confused why my ball of light is so like it's hard to tap into, or it's
Right. Sometimes it's like it's so brilliant. And then there's time it's like, I'm pretty sure there's a ball there somewhere. Somewhere. I think mine's made out of canvas. Like, it's like it feels like, yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. I mean, basically, there's just some sort of disconnect in that area. Yeah. Okay, so we're going to move over to the Tuesday night prayer petition blessing, and thanks for hanging out tonight. I hope you guys enjoyed. I really enjoyed talking about it. You can see I'm very enthusiastic about this subject, but yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed. So more to come over the next several weeks and several months and all of that.